This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News.
If everybody puts in a little, that creates a lot.
Watch as community members come together to stop a flood.
4 teams join together at Shields Arena for a shot at the Frozen Four.
See how Concordia is using martial arts to protect themselves.
And hear how entertainment industry students at MSUM are getting others to move to the music.
Good morning, and welcome to Campus News. I'm Shannon Blumgren.
And I'm Tanner Robinson. Recently, the city of Fargo said it would only need 400,000 sandbags to prevent flooding instead of the original 1 million, thanks to better weather.
Reporter Anthony Fridgen and photographer Jack Anderson were there for the last day of Sandbag Central to see how a potential disaster brought together all kinds of people to help out.
I am a garbage man, just helping out the effort. We are fighting the flood, as we do on, it's been 10 years since we've done it, but when we need it, we gear up here. This is called Sandbag Central. It's where we store our garbage trucks. So we just set up, we ask for volunteers. We get volunteers from the schools. Volunteer might be kind of a loose word to describe them, but they're asked to volunteer, and most of them love to come down.
Oh, just to help out the community, just like everybody wants to dry home. Oh, I've been out since '97. Yeah, I've made every one. We start unpacking bags, getting them ready on the table, free to be distributed to the spiders. When the bell rings, you start going and starts in. And it's a great community to live in, and plan on sticking around. You want to save the community, and like I told a kid the other day, I said, I'll be in a nursing home, and you're going to have to be probably bagging my nursing home someday. We just monitor how full the pallets are for the sandbags. When they get so full, then we'll take them off, and then we'll take them over to another station where we actually shrink wrap them, and then they get stockpiled outside until we get enough to load a truck. Say it, you know, it's all of our community, and if you care about your community, just even an hour or two makes a big difference. If everybody puts in a little, that creates a lot. You know, we do need to get the work done, because you never know what Mother Nature's going to throw at you from week to week.
Belinsky told us the biggest reward of volunteering for sandbagging is knowing that you are supporting community and helping others.
Although the sandbagging effort may be wrapping up for the FM area, city officials in Moorhead are now putting plans in place on where they need to go. The city says it will break up distribution to various parts of town. Community members were able to talk with their zone leaders on what they should prepare for in their parts of the community. We spoke to the city's engineer, who says they may need to call on students to chip in again.
We've already had a lot of help with volunteers in making sandbags, and that's greatly appreciated. There may come a point where we have to place those sandbags, and we would issue a call for volunteers. Students be more than welcome to participate if we get to that point.
The city says it will let people know when they need more volunteers.
Authorities say they've found a body of a missing University of South Carolina student last getting into a car she thought was her Uber. 21-year-old Samantha Jacobson was out at the bar with her friends and left alone. Her body was found 1 day later. Uber says they are focused on raising public awareness to this issue. Josephson's family, students, and lawmakers have since made calls to make ride-sharing apps safer for users. Josephson was a political science major on her way to Drexel University Law School.
A Tennessee man is facing multiple charges after police say he stole thousands of dollars in textbooks. Authorities say 20-year-old Waqib Lee is accused of stealing over $2,000 worth of books from Nashville State College. The school says they noticed 2 people grabbing textbooks and then running off. Police say Lee tried to sell back the stolen books, but failed. Lee is charged with theft and driving with a suspended license. Police are still looking for the other person seen stealing the books. Universities across the country are looking at whether or not they need to revamp their student survey practices and evaluations.
I caught up with teachers on campus to see how MSUM is affected as we're winding down in the semester. Teacher, and student.
So this idea.
Some would say the dynamic duo has the potential to have a complicated relationship. At the end of each semester, students are required to fill out a teacher evaluation form that tells the teachers what they liked and disliked about the class and how they taught.
Evals from students, I think they're important, but they're only part of the tools that we use to see how good,
The goal of the evaluation is to reflect the good and the bad. Sometimes the answer is not always clear, and teachers want students to expand their responses.
If a student says it's excellent, or I like the class quite a lot. Well, the question I would love to ask after that is, why did you like this class so much?
Some students say they are more likely to give a better evaluation if the coursework is simpler or they like their professor.
I also think there is a bias if you end up doing better in that class, you're more likely to give a better recommendation of that professor than you would if the professor is a good teacher but a bad grader.
Others say they would love to see the teacher receiving good feedback have their own rewards.
I feel like it's more of a formality. I don't know, it might not be for all the professors or all the teachers, but let me say a handful.
Overall, the evaluations given out at MSUM are used as peer evaluation and self-reflection. Students at MSUM are required to fill out end-of-semester teacher evaluations for each course. Their responses are kept anonymous. A Jersey City High School senior overcame unthinkable odds to get accepted to the college of his dreams. Dylan Chidik moved to the U.S. at age 7 from Trinidad with his mother and 2 brothers. At one point, his mother lost her job and his family became homeless. Now, he's been accepted to 18 colleges, including his top choice, the College of New Jersey. The university surprised Chidik at his high school to tell him he was accepted. Chidik's tuition, room and board will all be paid for by a generous donor. His start classes at the College of New Jersey later this fall.
For many college students, a trip to the campus library is a rarity, but that doesn't mean students aren't taking advantage of what libraries have to offer. Like others around the country, MSU Moorhead's Livingston Lord Library is transforming itself. Even though it may not get as much foot traffic as it used to, it's finding other ways to serve students. It's using more online databases and trying to make it easier for students to access them. Even when students need help online, a librarian is there.
You can, if you're in any of our databases, a chat window is open there to communicate with a librarian. We've got a software system called LibGuides, and most of our students don't even know about it.
This year, the MSUM library started using Dragon One Search. It's a Google-like system that searches all the library's resources at once. Researchers at the University of Maryland are working to make self-driving cars much safer before they hit the road. The program is called Augmented Autonomous Driving Simulation, or AADS. They're collaborating with researchers at the University of Hong Kong on a new driving simulator. The simulator displays photos to help train and correct issues in self-driving vehicles. It will make it easier to test self-driving programs in a lab setting before they are tested in a vehicle.
After 3 months of roaming the campus of George Mason University, food delivery robots are giving us an inside look at how students eat. The robots are giving campus officials information on what time students are eating, where the food is from, and how they use their meal plans. It could make changes in how the school serves students. Students can pay the $1.99 delivery fee with their meal plan, which makes delivery affordable. The creators of the robots, Starship Technologies, recently launched a whole new fleet of bots to Northern Arizona University's Flagstaff campus.
Students in the FM area are looking for ways to protect themselves so they could stay safe on campus.
Reporter Alex Larson tells us why students at Concordia are learning how to help from a Korean martial arts group.
하나, 둘, 하나, Taekwondo may seem like it would be too difficult for some of us, but these students are learning fast at Concordia's self-defense seminar. Concordia's Taekwondo club instructor David Schimmelfennig
left punch
is showing them that you don't have to be a professional to know how to defend yourself.
I've got Taekwondo club members and other people not involved with the club that come in and do it, and they really seem to enjoy it, and it's a lot of fun to teach to them too.
But students aren't learning how to fight someone. They're learning how to get out of all sorts of physical holds without hurting themselves in the process.
Not material that's too difficult, but something to fall back on, just to plant the seed that here's something you can do to defend yourself, and just to make people aware of their surroundings.
Taekwondo Club hosts one of these seminars a semester, but President Madison Rue is hoping to show what they've been learning at an upcoming tournament.
Most of our activity is the self-defense seminars, since that's something that I think the campus can really appreciate and use. The club itself does things like we go to class twice a week, we do on-campus training sessions. We're also hoping to go to our first tournament as a club this coming April.
The club will be hosting these seminars in future semesters to teach students the importance of self-defense. With photographer Zach Thompson, Alex Larson, Campus News.
The Taekwondo Club is one of more than 100 student organizations at Concordia College.
Next time you're at the zoo and see a bear making a funny face at you, it may be trying to tell you something. Researchers at England's University of Portsmouth say sun bears talk to each other by copying facial expressions. Hundreds of hours spent studying the bears found things like wrinkling noses and showing off teeth can mean the difference between speaking and shouting. The international team of scientists says the only other animals seen communicating like this are apes and dogs. It's the first time this kind of complex communication has been found in a solitary animal.
The Department of Biological Sciences at North Dakota State University held a seminar for students by a bug-loving staff member. Biological Science Associate Professor Rafael Royate held the seminar titled Causes and Consequences of Behavioral Variation, Lessons from Crickets and Spiders. During this seminar, Royate shared his personal research on insect behavior with the audience. Seminars like this can give students the chance to learn in a different way compared to in the classroom.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity to be exposed to a lot of different ideas, and also most of the time researchers share their latest up-to-date research, so it's very different than what you can experience in the classroom. It gives a really good overview of how science is conducted.
This is just one of a series of weekly seminars held by the department.
The University of North Dakota is adding a big name to its graduating class this spring. Minot native Josh Duhamel will not only be in Grand Forks for the commencement, but he will be receiving an honorary doctorate degree. UND says the degree will be awarded to the 46-year-old actor for his success in film and his promotional work for the state of North Dakota. Duhamel has starred in the Transformers movie franchise, Safe Haven, and most recently, Love, Simon. He's made appearances in Grand Forks for tailgating and UND hockey games. UND's graduation will be held on May 11th at the Alaris Center.
Smooth sounds, lively lyrics, and vigorous vibes echoed through the Sun Garden Lounge at MSUM.
Reporter Madison Nelson-Gira shows us how entertainment industry students shared their talents with the campus.
Music filled the air as EIT students brought their talents to the stage. They played original songs and covered some classics. Anna Jennings and Cassandra Johnson are senior EIT students and loved the opportunity to share the art of music with students from MSUM.
And it was really fun to just kind of spread that music, especially when we played like Radio Gaga and everyone was clapping together.
Yeah, getting involved.
It was really heartwarming.
Maddie Hushke-Frigge also took the stage. She shared some of her original songs off an album she wrote. She feels at home with the guitar in her hand, and the feeling of performing gives her a newfound self-confidence.
I have really bad anxiety, so it's not the people part, but it's fun once I get into it. Like I get like less anxious. Like the only time I'm not afraid of everyone is when I'm holding a guitar.
With the tap of the foot and the clap of the hands, music moves through everyone in many different ways. And for these performers, music is their life. With photographer Kylie Meyer, Madison Ncaa, Campus News.
Anna and Cassandra are in the process of recording an album together, and you can find Maddie's music on Spotify with her new album, Car Album, coming out next month.
And now we turn it over to Alexis Kennedy for a look at this week's sports.
Well, we had a lot of hockey this past weekend, you guys. Top hockey teams from around the country met up at Shields Arena to see who's the best of the best. I went to the rink to see what it takes to put on one of college hockey's biggest events.
A weekend full of excitement, checks, and dirty dangles.
Nice move. Nice move.
The NCAA Division I Hockey Regional was in town. Ashley McCoy, the NCAA events intern for Shields Arena, says with an event this big, it brings in a crowd.
For Shields Arena, this is one of our only nationally televised events, so it definitely brings a more fun and atmosphere around, and also we get a lot of people from out of town traveling in, so it just kind of gives us a lot more coverage.
4 teams join together at Shields Arena for a shot at the Frozen Four.
But with an event this big, a lot goes on behind the scenes setting it up.
Sunday we all came in, right away our ice crew was out redoing the ice, so NCAA sends us new paint and new logos for the ice, we redo our ice. We also have to redo all of the signage in the bowl, so anything that has a corporate sponsorship on it has to get covered with NCAA branding.
Staffing for the event and preparing for media coverage is another key part of setting up an event this scale.
For staffing right away, we kind of just get facilities underway, so we send those credentials off. When it comes to media, they're given a deadline after Selection Sunday. They send in their credentials, and then after that, we kind of set up press row. We have a media room set up in our icon room across the building.
Until next year, the venue location is up in the air with bids coming from UND the next 3 years. With photographers Damian O'Donnell and Jacob Tenson, Alexis Kennedy, Campus News Sports.
The weekend in Fargo was full of competitive hockey, but one team pulled one of the biggest upsets of the tournament. American International College upset the #1 seeded St. Cloud State University in the first round of the tournament, winning 2-1. This is the first Division I playoff win for the Yellow Jackets. AIC is the first 16 seed ever to win a tournament game in their debut, and this also marks the 3rd time a 16 seed has beaten a 1 seed in the tournament.
We're not here to win one hockey game. We're trying to get out of this bracket here, and that's our mindset. And you know, our guys, like I said, they just have a strong belief, and you know, we will have to hit the reset button. I told them to enjoy it for a couple hours here, and this group's been really good all year at, you know, whether it's coming off a tough loss or an emotional win, of hitting the reset button, hitting the refocus button, and see if we can duplicate our effort from today.
Though AIC came up victorious against SCSU, they did not have the same luck against the University of Denver. The Pioneers took down the Yellow Jackets 3-0 with their goals coming in the 2nd and 3rd period. Denver's goalie Philip Larson became the 5th goalie ever to record back-to-back shutout games in the NCAA Regional Tournament. This is the 5th straight year Denver has made it to the Frozen Four and the 16th time since 1973.
Really proud of our players and how they've come together this year. The things we've been through from the start of the year and everything that was said about us to get to this point has been a lot of growth, and it's been them in the room believing in one another and pushing each other to get better every day and every week. So very proud of our group, excited for our program to be heading back to the Frozen Four again.
Denver joins the University of Minnesota Duluth, Providence University, and the University of Massachusetts at the Frozen Four in Buffalo, New York. The family of a former Minnesota Duluth men's hockey player says they now know why he took his own life. Andrew Carroll's family donated his brain to Boston University following his death in 2018. They say doctors found Andrew suffered from chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, a degenerative brain disease caused by repeated head trauma, like from concussions. Doctors say CTE has been contributed to deaths of dozens of athletes over the years. The Carroll family says it hopes Andrew's death will help raise awareness about the disease. A reform bill could give college students in North Carolina a break on tuition, saving students thousands of dollars. 3 North Carolina state senators have proposed legislation that will give new benefits to college athletes, like free legal counsel, better health care, and help with core studies. Senate Bill 335 would allow public universities to treat out-of-state students on full scholarships as in-state students for tuition purposes, which can save students almost $20,000 a year. The bill is now on the floor for discussion in the Senate. MSUM women's basketball is weeks removed from a second-round exit in the Ncaa Division II tournament, and they've already added a difference maker to next year's roster. Former Fargo Shanley standout and North Dakota Miss Basketball Sarah Jacobson is moving across the Red River to MSUM. An incident between the junior and now former Bison head coach Morin Walseth led to the dismissal of Jacobson from NDSU's team mid-season. After she received her transfer release from the NCAA, Jacobson reached out to MSUM head coach Carla Nelson and found a home and squad in Moorhead.
I'm most excited about going to a different campus. The girls seem awesome. I've been in contact with them a little bit, and I'm excited to meet new friends and play basketball again.
During her 2 years of experience at NDSU, Jacobson finished second on the team in scoring and started 59 games. Guys, Minnesota basketball, or MSUM's basketball is already pretty good, so I'm pretty excited to see what she can do for them next year.
Thanks, Alexis. This is our 35th year on Prairie Public Television, and to celebrate, we're taking a look back at some of our favorite stories. This week, we remember someone who was a big part of our past.
Marv Bossert was a longtime news anchor at WDAY-TV in Fargo, as well as a professor at MSU Moorhead for decades. After retiring from TV in 2000, he finally said goodbye to teaching in 2009. Andrew Tickey had the story.
People are going to want to know that. That adds interest to your story. So one thing you want to do when you get a news story, when you read that thing over, say to yourself, what's really interesting about this particular story?
For more than 40 years, he brought the news to Fargo Moorhead. And for the past 39 years, Marv Bossert has been a fixture in MSUM's Mass Communications Department, teaching what he knows best, broadcast writing.
I found out that I couldn't be impatient with young people who weren't writing so well. That takes some time too. Writing is kind of like playing the piano or whatever. It's doing it and learning to do this kind of thing. The more, in other words, the more you write, the better you get, is the way I like to say it. That would be your graphic, following your lead.
Every morning for nearly 4 decades, Marv shared his knowledge of the news desk, building a bond with his students.
Get up really early, 6 o'clock in the morning to get ready to come over to Moorhead State. And I walked in that first morning, on Tuesday morning, after Monday Night Football, and I had my first class at my first 8 o'clock I ever had. And I said, class, I want you to know that I looked this way this morning because of Monday Night Football. That's the only time I ever had to finish that thing, because I walked in every Tuesday and said the same thing. I'd say, class, I look this way, and the whole class would say, because of Monday Night Football. I didn't even have to repeat it. It was kind of fun. Stuff of news or reporting. So that's what you want.
He left the WDAY anchor desk in 2000, but his love for teaching kept him in the classroom.
When I talked to the people here at Minnesota State University Moorhead, they were very accommodating to me. They always have been. I've been blessed that way too, because I worked with a mass comm department that's absolutely terrific.
That department threw Marv a retirement party 2 years ago, but that didn't stop him from teaching either. That is, until his final day.
In fact, I think maybe I retired for a good reason. I was walking down the hall one day, and somebody passed me, and they said, "Are you still here?"
After a lifetime of teaching, Marv said his last goodbye.
Then I come to this teaching thing, which I loved.
To his final group of students.
I've done that for 37 years, and now it's all over. And it makes me pretty darn emotional, and I can't help it, because it's a long time to do something like that. I worked really hard. There's 2 jobs but I was blessed to the heavens, because I had not 1 but 2 jobs that I absolutely loved. That doesn't happen to very many people.
While one era comes to an end, Memories of Marv's classroom remain.
Thought he was a great teacher because he was bringing that kind of practical experience that he had and current events of the day.
I don't think it's the last we've seen of Marv at MSU. I mean, I think he's so valuable in so many capacities that, you know, he'll be back in different classrooms.
Health issues, for one thing. And, but I also have reached the point where I need more time, even though I'm retired, sort of. But now, when I work the first semester, it always starts in August, and I have a lake place, and I'd like to be down there in August. And so things have changed a little bit for me, where I've said to myself, you know, I've done the best I can do. So I guess it's time I throw in the towel and let somebody else take this over, and they'll do just fine.
A final sign-off for a broadcasting legend.
Marv passed away in 2013 after a long battle with Parkinson's disease.
The room we are in right now is named the Marv Bossert Studio in his honor.
And that's it for this edition of Campus News.
We leave you with another look at MSUM students performing in the Sun Garden Lounge.
Thanks for joining us and have a great week.
Campus News is produced by the Television News Workshop in the School of Communication and Journalism at Minnesota State University Moorhead in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.